Indonesia has always been described as a place of balance, a country where many beliefs live side by side, where religion is not hidden but woven into daily life. From the call to prayer at dawn to church bells on Sunday mornings, faith is visible everywhere. For decades, this balance seemed stable, unchanging, predictable, but beneath the surface, something quiet has been happening, something few expected. Stay with this story till the very end, because what is unfolding in Indonesia is not loud, not sudden, and not driven by force. It is a slow movement of the heart. For a long time, Indonesia was seen as firmly rooted in one direction. Faith was inherited, not questioned. Families passed beliefs down as tradition, culture, and identity. Religion was not just spiritual, it was social. It defined community, belonging, and family bonds. Changing faith was rare, and when it happened, it often stayed hidden. But today, something has changed. Across cities, villages, universities, and online spaces, a quiet shift is underway. More Indonesians are choosing a path their parents never imagined. They are entering Catholic churches. They are asking questions. They are attending Mass. Some are doing this quietly, others openly. But together, these individual choices are forming a larger pattern. This is not a story of pressure. It is not a story of politics. It is not a story of rejection. It is a story of search. To understand why this is happening, we must first understand Indonesia itself. Indonesia is a young country with an old soul. It carries deep traditions, strong family ties, and a powerful sense of order. Religion plays a central role in shaping moral life. It guides behavior, community rules, and daily rhythm. Faith is respected, and public life reflects that respect. For many people, this structure brings comfort. But for others, especially the younger generation, it raises questions. Not loud questions. Quiet ones. Young Indonesians today are growing up in a world very different from their parents. They are connected globally. They see other cultures. They read widely. They watch debates online. They are exposed to ideas that challenge inherited beliefs. This exposure does not immediately change faith, but it opens space for reflection. For some, that reflection turns inward. They begin asking questions about meaning, about suffering, about forgiveness, about love, about what faith asks of the heart, not just of behavior. These questions are not new, but they are being asked more freely than before. In this search, Catholicism appears in unexpected ways. It appears through education. Catholic schools and universities have long been respected in Indonesia for discipline, academic strength, and moral clarity. Many students encounter Catholic teaching not through conversion efforts, but through philosophy, ethics, and service. They observe a faith that speaks quietly but deeply. It appears through service. Catholic hospitals, charities, and social programs serve people without asking who they are or what they believe. For many Indonesians, this experience leaves a lasting impression. Faith expressed through care feels different from faith expressed through rules. It appears through friendship, a conversation, a shared class, a wedding, a funeral. Catholicism often enters lives not through argument, through example, and it appears through silence. In a world filled with noise, Catholic worship feels still. The rituals are slow. The prayers are ancient. The space invites reflection. For those overwhelmed by constant demands, this stillness becomes powerful. Many converts describe the same feeling. Not excitement, but peace. Not certainty, but grounding. They speak of a faith that does not rush them. That allows doubt. That invites patience. This is especially meaningful for people living under pressure. Pressure to succeed. Pressure to obey. Pressure to conform. Catholicism, as they encounter it, offers something unexpected. Rest. Another factor shaping this movement is suffering. Indonesia has faced economic uncertainty, natural disasters, and social stress. Many people feel tired. They feel stretched between tradition and modern life. In moments of loss or crisis, people often turn inward. They search for meaning that goes beyond success or approval. Catholic teaching speaks directly to suffering, not by denying it, but by giving it meaning. The image of the cross, central to Catholic faith, speaks to pain that is not wasted, to love that endures hardship. For many, this message resonates deeply. This does not mean people are rejecting their past. Many converts speak with respect for where they came from. They are not turning away in anger. They are stepping towards something that feels true to their inner life. Conversion, in these cases, is not rebellion. It is a response. Families often react with surprise, sometimes with fear, sometimes with sadness. Changing faith can feel like breaking an unspoken rule. Many converts struggle with this tension. They move slowly, carefully. They try to honor their families while following their conscience. This makes the process quiet, private, gradual. But when thousands of private decisions happen at the same time, they form a visible change. Churches notice fuller pews. Catechism classes grow. Baptisms increase. Not all at once, not everywhere, but steadily. Importantly, this movement is not being driven by campaigns. It is not organized from the top. There are no mass events pushing conversion. What makes this shift remarkable is that it is happening without pressure. It is happening because people are choosing it. This is why it shocks observers. Indonesia was not expected to change this way. The assumption was stability, continuity. But faith, like culture, is never frozen. It responds to the human heart. The question now is not whether this movement exists. It does. The deeper question is why it feels so strong, what it reveals about the spiritual state of modern Indonesia. As this quiet movement grows, one thing becomes clear. These conversions are not random. They are not driven by excitement or trend. They follow a pattern shaped by modern life, personal struggle, and a deep hunger for meaning. One of the strongest forces behind this shift is education. Across Indonesia, Catholic schools and universities have built a reputation that goes beyond religion. They are known for discipline, structure, and fairness. Students from all backgrounds study there, often without any intention of changing faith. They come for quality education. They stay because they encounter something unexpected. They encounter teachers who listen, systems that are consistent, rules that are firm but humane, moral guidance that is explained, not forced. For many young Indonesians, this is their first experience of authority that feels steady rather than controlling. Faith is not shouted, it is lived. This creates curiosity, and curiosity opens doors that argument never could. In classrooms, students read philosophy. They discuss dignity, conscience, and truth. They learn that faith and reason are not enemies. For some, this is a revelation. They begin to see Catholicism not as a foreign belief, but as a coherent way of understanding life. Another powerful factor is service Catholic charities. Hospitals and relief programs are present across Indonesia. They work quietly, often in difficult conditions. They serve during disasters. They help the poor. They care for the sick. And they do this without asking questions about belief. For people receiving this help, the experience is striking. Faith expressed through action feels different from faith expressed through command. It feels personal. It feels compassionate. It feels real. Many converts say their journey began not with a church visit, but with being cared for when they felt invisible. In moments of vulnerability, the actions of believers spoke louder than words. This kind of witness leaves a deep mark. Another layer shaping this movement is fatigue. Indonesian life carries heavy expectations. Young people face pressure to succeed, to support families, to meet social standards, and to follow tradition without question. Many feel stretched between old rules and new realities. Catholicism, as they encounter it, offers a different rhythm. The faith does not promise ease, but it offers structure without constant pressure. It allows silence. It values rest. It honors struggle. For people living under constant demand, this balance is deeply attractive. Worship becomes a space where they are not performing. They are simply present. The rituals matter here. The repetition, the slow prayers, the ancient words. In a fast world, these elements create grounding. They connect individuals to something older than modern stress. For many Indonesians, this sense of rootedness feels like relief. Family life also plays a role. In Indonesia, faith is closely tied to family identity. Changing religion is not a private choice. It affects parents, siblings, and extended relatives. This makes conversion difficult. Many converts describe long periods of inner conflict. They study quietly. They attend Mass secretly. They struggle with guilt and fear. They worry about disappointing those they love. This process slows conversion, but it also deepens it. People who convert under these conditions do so carefully, thoughtfully. They do not rush. By the time they make the decision, it is not emotional. It is deliberate. This is why the movement feels steady rather than explosive. Another factor often overlooked is freedom of conscience. Indonesia officially recognizes religious freedom, but social pressure can still be strong. In such an environment, Catholic teaching on conscience resonates deeply. The idea that faith must be freely chosen, not inherited by force, speaks to people who feel torn between tradition and inner conviction. Catholicism teaches that belief cannot be compelled, that truth invites rather than demands. For individuals struggling with identity, respect for inner freedom feels respectful. This respect builds trust. Trust allows exploration. Exploration leads to commitment. Technology has also changed everything. Young Indonesians have access to global conversations. They watch talks. They read testimonies. They listen to debates. They encounter Catholic voices from around the world speaking about faith, doubt, suffering, and hope in calm, thoughtful ways. This exposure breaks stereotypes. Catholicism no longer feels distant or foreign. It feels human. Many converts say they were drawn not by doctrine first, but by honesty, by people who admitted weakness, by faith that allowed questions. This authenticity matters. Over time, these influences combine. Education opens the mind. Service opens the heart. Silence opens space. Freedom builds trust. Technology removes distance. Together, they create conditions where conversion becomes possible. Not easy. Not fast, but real. Importantly, this movement is not driven by rejection of others. Converts often speak with respect for their past. They are not fleeing something. They are responding to something they found. This distinction matters. It explains why the movement does not produce conflict. It explains why it grows quietly. It explains why it surprises observers. Indonesia is not experiencing a religious battle. It is experiencing a spiritual search. And that search is still unfolding as this quiet movement continues. Its impact begins to appear in everyday life. Not through headlines or protests, but through small, visible changes. Churches prepare more classes. Parishes welcome people who arrive with questions rather than certainty. Families notice shifts they never expected. The change is real, but it moves gently. For many converts, the hardest part is not belief. It is belonging. Changing faith in Indonesia often means walking a careful line. Converts try to honor their families while following their conscience. Some face confusion. Others face silence. A few face open resistance. Even when there is no anger, there is distance. Conversations become cautious. Traditions feel fragile. This tension shapes how conversion happens. People move slowly. They seek guidance. They avoid drama. Faith becomes something lived quietly rather than announced. The church, in many places, responds with patience. There is no rush. Instruction takes time. Questions are welcomed. Doubt is not treated as failure. This approach matters deeply for people who are already carrying emotional weight. What keeps many converts steady is community. Small groups form naturally. Friendships deepen. Shared meals, shared service, shared prayer. create bonds that replace fear with support. Converts often say they did not find a crowd, they found a home. This sense of home does not erase difficulty, but it makes endurance possible. Another important effect of this movement is how it reshapes conversation about faith itself. Catholicism in Indonesia, often been viewed as a minority tradition, respected but distant. As more Indonesians encounter it through friends, schools, and service, that distance fades. The faith becomes familiar, human, approachable. This familiarity reduces fear on all sides. When faith is known through people rather than ideas, misunderstanding loses strength. At the same time, Catholic communities are changing too. They become more diverse, more local, more connected to Indonesian culture. Worship reflects local music, language, and expression. Faith does not erase identity. It adapts to it. This is why the movement does not feel like replacement. It feels like integration. Still, challenges remain. Some converts struggle with isolation. Some carry long-term family strain. Some fear social consequences. These realities remind us that conversion is not a trend. It is a serious personal cost, yet people continue to choose it. Why? Because they find something that answers questions they could not silence. Because they experience a faith that speaks to suffering without denying it. Because they encounter love that does not demand perfection. Because they find a structure that holds them without crushing them. This is not about numbers alone. It is about meaning. Indonesia is changing, not because people are rejecting tradition, but because they are engaging it more deeply. They are asking what faith does to the heart, not just what it demands from behavior. This movement also challenges assumptions about religion in the modern world. Many believed that faith would fade with education and technology. Instead, it is being reshaped. People are not abandoning belief. They are refining it, choosing it, owning it. In Indonesia, this refinement is taking a Catholic form for many, not because it is easy, but because it feels rooted, patient, honest. The future remains open. This movement may grow. It may slow. It may take new forms. But one thing is already clear. Faith is not static. It responds to human need. And when people are given space to search freely, they often find answers in unexpected places. Indonesia's story reminds us of something important. Conversion is not always loud. Change is not always forced. Sometimes, the most powerful movements happen quietly, one conscience at a time. If this story made you reflect, take a moment to consider what truly draws people toward faith. Share your thoughts, and stay connected for more stories that explore the quiet changes shaping our world.